Move that mic in the middle. Yeah. In the middle. That's the camera. That's the mic for the camera. Yeah, so yeah. Red, it's on.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Can the sisters hear us upstairs? Brothers, there's a lot of space, so let's make space for everybody that's standing at the back. Let's come together, come forward. We can perhaps have a little more forward over here on the left-hand side. There's plenty of space on the right as well. There's some room to the left there as well.
Sorry, mic. Sarah.
Brothers at the back, you can be seated until we start soon, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. A special welcome to everybody who's come from outside Islam for this event, and thank you so much for coming. For those of you who don't know, JMIC is probably the leading masjid, it's the leading masjid in Islam. They organize visits for much of the wider community. So part of the activities that happen in this masjid, part of the service of the masjid just to the community, is school visits from the entire region, from very, very far away. The masjid runs social welfare programs, including working with age concern, hospitals, feeding the poor. Very many initiatives run through this masjid. So it's an honor for us to be having the first JMIC Presents event. And I'm sure we're very fortunate we've been joined by the trustees of the masjid. So a special thank you to them, and obviously we've got the imams of the masjid here with us as well. So I'm sure they'll be giving a special welcome to everybody today too. And we make the first of very many events that will be happening at the masjid. First off, quickly, some housekeeping rules. There are no fire drills planned today. So if you go off, the exits are clearly marked. So you can see the exits over here and back there. We also have exits upstairs that are clearly marked, and also in the basement. If we in the basement downstairs for the gentlemen, and I understand the sisters. There's the toilets are at the back for the gentlemen, and over on this side at the front for the sisters. So as I was saying earlier, this masjid, alhamdulillah, has been serving this community for nearly 40 years. The first building, it was an old church, was purchased in 1982 by members of our community, and this building itself in 2000. But the important point is, it wasn't always here. The generations that are coming now, we've just assumed that there's a masjid in our community. We have to understand that this masjid was built by a generation that came in before us, brick by brick, effort by effort, putting their pennies together and constructing something for future generations. We make dua that this masjid will remain here for future generations. But just like sometimes we take the fact of a masjid for granted, we often take our deen for granted. If I look out into the crowd, I'd say 80% of us here, born Muslim. But alhamdulillah, the brother that's joining us today, Brother Yusha Evans, he didn't have that luxury. So he had to go on his own journey to discover this deen. And alhamdulillah, as part of his journey, he's become a prominent speaker, a da'i, he's traveled the world, and we're very lucky to have him with us today. And another point is, just as we talk about this hoping to have this masjid with us for future generations, we need to understand that us as present and future generations are facing new challenges to our deen all the time. Which brings us on to the topic of this talk today. We titled the talk, Holding the Hot Coal in Your Hands, based on the hadith. Because as Muslims, we are facing very many challenges, this generation and future generations. So, Brother Yusha is here to discuss that with us. And that's going to be the topic of the talk, inshallah. Just one final point. Please remember we're in a masjid, the adab is a masjid. After the talk, there will be an opportunity for question and answers, but you have some volunteers who will come around and take those questions from you, inshallah. So with that, I'll pass over to our brother Yusha.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. Amma ba'd, wassalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How is everyone? Alhamdulillah. Before we get started, for those of you who do not have any idea who they brought and put in front of you, the brother said my name was Yusha Evans. I was born Joshua Evans, same name, did not change my name. I accepted Islam in 1998 in the United States after a very long search for religion and being lost in the streets for a while. That long story is on YouTube if you want to go and check it out. It's called How the Bible Led Me to Islam. But tonight, I want to try, inshallah ta'ala, to do as most justice as I can to this topic in a beneficial manner. And because this topic's been addressed many, many times by many, many different scholars, by many speakers. So I don't want to try to come and reinvent the wheel for you. What I want to try to do tonight, inshallah ta'ala, is to find some lesson that we can draw from the subject, and how can you go about lead this masjid tonight and put some things into practice in your own personal life that will help you, inshallah. We all know famously the Prophet ﷺ said in the narrative of Anas ibn Malik in a collection of the Imam al-Tirmidhi, the Prophet said, يأتي على الناس, that there will come a time upon man زمان الصابر فيهم على دينه, that someone who is remain patient upon their religion means someone who is practicing their deen and remaining patient upon it. القابض على الجمر. It will be as if they were holding on to a hot stone or a hot coal. And outwardly it seems very clear what the Prophet ﷺ was trying to say. You know, that there will come a time upon man, he was speaking in the future, that for someone who practices the deen of Islam and they remain patient upon that, that it would be like holding on to a hot stone or a hot coal, meaning that there would be struggle, there would be tribulation, there would be pain, there would be suffering. Are we in those times? Allah knows best. Allah knows best. Those times could be yet to come. The tests and trials that we see right now, even though look very difficult to us, you know, and seem very trying on this ummah, yes, they do. There could be a time, a generation from now, 2 generations from now, where this hadith means even more. And they might even look back upon these times, the times of their fathers and their grandfathers, as a time of relative ease and luxury based upon what they are suffering with at the moment. Allah knows best. But I think there's always been a time through this ummah, even since the time of the Prophet ﷺ, where even his companions understood the context and what it's meant by the statement of this hadith. That practicing Islam, practicing the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was always going to come with difficulty. It was always going to come with tribulation. It was always going to be with a test where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promises. So what do we do? How many of you would agree that practicing Islam in 2019 in the West is difficult? Raise your hand. It's difficult to practice the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Raise your hand. Okay? How many of you think it's not difficult to practice the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the West in 2019? Raise your hand. Good. Guess what? You're both right. You're both absolutely right. You know this famous saying, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. It's the same when it comes to practicing the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because there might be some people who rose their hands and said it was tribulation than anything you can imagine because of the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But they see that in a different framework. And that's what I'm going to try to talk to you about as well tonight, inshallah, is we as an ummah need to change the way that we perceive our reality. This is like ground zero for any improvement in the situation of the Muslim ummah, is our perception of our reality. Our perception of our reality. Because when I asked you, when I first opened my talk and I said, how is everyone? I'll say, alhamdulillah. Mostly it's formality, right? That's your normal go-to response, it's formality. Why? Why do we say this? As a Muslim, our response to any inquiry about our condition should always be alhamdulillah. Because the Prophet ﷺ, he also said famously that the affair or the life or the condition of the mu'mineen, of the believers, it was an amazing thing to him. And it was strange. He said it is strange. And it is unique and it is amazing. All that was meant by what he said. He said because if Allah Jalla wa Ala blesses the believer, blesses someone who possesses Iman in Allah Jalla wa Ala, then the believer does what? What do we do when Allah blesses us? I don't ask rhetorical questions, by the way. If I do ask questions, I want responses. What do we do? What does the believer do when Allah blesses them?
Shukr.
Gratitude. They show thankfulness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah told Bani Israel, لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ, that if you're grateful to me, I'll just give you more. I will increase you. So Allah increases them and blesses them for their gratitude upon His blessing. If you could literally sit and think about that for quite a while and never cease to be amazed by the ni'mah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. After everything He's given us, He blesses us on top of it, and then if we thank Him and show gratitude for that blessing, He then blesses us for that gratitude. And then if we're grateful for that, He then blesses us and more and more and more. He said, but if Allah afflicts the believer with fitan, with trials, with tribulation, with hardship, with difficulty, like this hadith, it will be like holding on to a hot coal in an engine. They are patiently upon the religion. He said, what does the believer do then? What does the believer do when Allah tests them?
Remain
They have
patient.
patience. Sabr. Beautiful patience. They have patience about the and what does that even mean? That would be another talk that would extend way beyond our time frame. But to be patient with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's test is to be content with your condition. To be content with whatever Allah puts in front of you, you are satisfied with it. This is patience. That you are content with it. That you are also thankful and grateful for the test. Because you don't know what is the reason. And He said, those who are patient, then Allah blesses them for their patience. So He said, both states of the believer's life, the good and the bad of it, is khair for them. It's good for them. And He said, this is only for those who believe. Only for those who believe. Only for those who believe. Alhamdulillah for the ni'mah of Islam. Because for those who do not believe, both the good and bad that enters into their lives is no good. No good. That Allah either blesses them for the good they've done in this life, He repays them here. He repays them here, so He is even with them on the day of Qiyamah, owes them nothing. Or He lightens their punishment for the good they do, and if He punishes them, then that punishment is only going to be doubled on the day when they meet Him, having disbelieved in Him, and see His right. So we have to understand that framework is that for the Muslim who believes there are mu'min or not, striving to be a believer, we all are striving to be someone who has true belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our condition is always going to be that of prayer and should always be one of gratitude. That very idea alone could change many of our lives. Many of our lives. Because there's not a single one of us but will struggle at some point in this life. Allah promised this fact. There's not a single one of us but will sin throughout our life. The Prophet ﷺ promised us this. Every son of Adam sins. But the best of those who do sin are those who are repentant. So there is not going to be the life of the believer that is full of rainbows and sunshine and golden paved streets, because this is not a road that leads to Jannah. It's not a road that leads to paradise. When the Prophet ﷺ was told by Jibreel ﷺ about Jannah, and he related to his companions, he said that Jibreel told me, when he was discussing the creation of Jannah and Nar, heaven and hell, which Allah Jalla wa Ala created for us. Those things are created for us. He sent Jibreel to look at them. He said, go look at Jannah. Look at what I've made. Jibreel came back and said, oh, my Lord, there's no one you tell about this place who's not going to go there. There's no one that you inform us this place they're going to go here. He said, go and see Jahannam. He went and saw it, came back and said, my Lord, if you tell anyone that this place exists, they will not enter it. They will do everything to avoid it. No one's going here. Almost, this is almost a pointless thing because nobody's going here. Then Allah Jalla wa Ala surrounded Jahannam with desires and temptation and all of the things of this world that we enjoy. All of the sins and disobedience. The easy things. The things that are just very easy to do. And then He surrounded Jannah with hardship and trials and tribulations and struggles and poverty and humiliation and oppression and sacrifice and all of this horrible things that no human being would ever, just jump them into or desire things. He said, go and look again. When Jibreel alayhi salam came back from Jahannam, he said, oh Allah, my Lord, I think everyone's going to. There won't be anybody but who enters this place. And when he saw Jannah, he said, my Lord, I don't think there's anyone who will enter. I don't think there's anyone who's going to make it. So, to think that the road to Jannah should be easy is a fool's delight. It's a fool's delight. So the believer rejoices in both the ease and he rejoices in the hardship. He rejoices in the good times and he rejoices in the bad times. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, whomsoever Allah loves, He puts them into trial, puts them into fitna, puts them into test, He puts them into struggles. And Allah tests those whom He loves. So now we have to decide, what do we do within this test, within this trial, within this tribulation that we live in, where it is more difficult to practice Islam in the West now. It is more difficult. At the same time, I am delighted at the difficulty, and I hope that you'll understand why by the end of this, inshallah. Like I said, I've been a Muslim 20 years. I've been a Muslim pre-2001. So I've seen two different very worlds in the West for the Muslim. Even though I was a very young Muslim, it's still memories that I have. You know what you do with this? If we live in a time, and there might be many times where this hadith is applicable, where holding on to the religion is like holding on to a hot coal. You know what you do? You just keep holding on. You just keep holding on. The fact that it hurts, the fact that there is some evidence that it's a hot coal for you, is a sign from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you are okay, that you're alright, that you're on the right path, that you're heading in the right direction. Without that sign, I would be very worried. If practicing Islam was too easy, it's problematic. If your life as a Muslim is too easy, problematic. If your life when people think, they actually, they comprehend that Muslims who go out and give da'wah, travel the world, we live some glamorous, celebrity lifestyle. And I can't help but laugh to myself because I've been doing this for 12 years and I'm like, actually, please, for the sake of Allah, just do it for me for a year and then come back to me. See if you make it here. If it was easy, then I would be worried. If there were no struggles, I would be worried. My earliest of teachers told me, Yusha, if it becomes too easy for you, you're either not pushing hard enough or it's something is completely wrong with your deen. A man came to the Prophet ﷺ and he said, O Messenger of Allah, give me some advice, give me some nasihat. But he wanted this nasihat to be conditional. Two conditions. The first condition is that he wanted it to be a comprehensive advice, that he would never need to ask anything after that advice. That would be the last advice he would ever need. And the second condition is that that advice would take him to Jannah. These were his two conditions. So the Prophet ﷺ responded to him, and he said, قُلْ أَمَنْتُ بِاللَّهِ ثُمَّ اسْتَقِمْ. Say that you believe in Allah and remain steadfast upon that. Short and sweet and simple. But that wasn't what the man wanted. The whole reason he prefaced the advice upon these two conditions, he wanted something long and beautiful. He wanted a discourse from the Prophet ﷺ. The companions, would relish in the fact that they would be able to conversate with the Prophet ﷺ, learn something from him that maybe no one else knew. Just have his attention, to have him look at him. Forgive me when I start talking about the love between the companions and the Prophet ﷺ, it's a little bit difficult for me. For him to look at them, give them some of his attention, maybe smile at him. It was Jannah in this life for them. That was it. That was, they would seek after this. So he wanted something longer. So he asked the Prophet, okay, give me something else. He didn't say that there was anything wrong with the advice. The advice was beautiful. We want more, a little bit more. But unfortunately, with his preface question, with his two conditions, he had boxed himself in. Because the Prophet ﷺ had to meet his conditions. That it was a comprehensive advice that would take him to Jannah. So he repeated, say that you believe in Allah and remain on that. Istiqamah upon that means whatever it takes, you stay on that. So the man said, okay, yes, I heard you. I got that one. Just give me something else. One more, just give me something else. And for the third time, the Prophet ﷺ said, say that you believe in Allah and remain upon that. And that will be a comprehensive advice for you that will take you to Jannah. Subhanallah. So, I know you want a magic pill. You know, that makes everything over. I know you want someone to come sit in front of you and give you a 5-step program that will make everyone love you as a Muslim. You know, they will make everyone happy with you. They will make everybody smile at you and be jovial about the fact that Muslims, you know, are a prominent minority within the West. But it's just not there. If there were a magic pill, the Prophet ﷺ gave it to us in an advice narrated by Yusha in where she said, and I'm going to reverse the order of hadith for the benefit of it, inshallah. I'm going to reverse the order of the hadith. She said, the Prophet ﷺ told us about our relationship with people, because this entire world, and everything that is in it, you will have 2 types of relationships for your whole life. And that will be the relationship that you have with Allah, your creator, and the relationship you have with His creation. And the religion is almost split into 2 in that sense as well. Rulings about your relationship with Allah, and rulings about your relationship with His creation. So he split these 2 and explained something that I've been talking about for many, many years now, and you know, have kind of learned how to fit it into more beneficial subjects. He explained something that if we understood and took to heart, really took to heart, we would not find ourselves in the West in the condition that we find ourselves in today. Wallahi, we would not. How many of you would say that you like to be respected? Raise your hands. You like to be respected. You like to be honored. You like to be liked. Yeah? It's human nature to seek after approval of other humans. It's just part of who we are. Do you know what honor, this type of approval, this type of respect is called by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the most frequent places in the Quran? What is the most frequent term Allah uses for this? Anybody? You guess? It's called the izzah. Izzah. To have respect, to have dignity. Allah refers to as izzah, honor, respect, dignity, to be liked for the right reasons. And this is what we want. We ask for it on the minbar and in Ramadan. Allahumma ansur wa izz Islam al-Muslimin. Ameen. Yes, we want Allah to give help and honor to Islam and the Muslims. The Prophet ﷺ had honored his companions radiallahu رضي الله عنهم وارضاهم أجمعين, had and have honored. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, whosoever seeks to please people, whosoever seeks ridda from people, meaning they seek pleasure from people, they want people to like them, but they do so at the displeasure of Allah. They do so at the displeasure of Allah, meaning that the way they go about getting people to try to like them, and if this does not describe the Ummah of 2019, I don't know what does. The way they go about getting people to like them is displeasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They seek the pleasure of Allah's creation by displeasing the one whom created them. You almost can see how much of a fallacy this is. But the Prophet ﷺ said, in their attempts to do so, Allah would become displeased with them. They would earn this displeasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He would cause the people, or place in the people, the displeasure of them as well. He would make sure that the people whom they were seeking to be pleased with them by displeasing Him, that they would also be displeased with Him. It would be a lose-lose scenario. If that is not the condition that describes the past 20 years of the Muslim Ummah in the West, and for the past 15 for sure, I don't know any other summarization that would fit us. Because we have spent nearly half a generation now trying to fit in, trying to blend in, trying to do everything we can to make people like us and pleased with us, and we think that by somehow retracting things from our religion, retracting things from our identity, straying away from things that we know Allah Jalla wa Ala has commanded us to do, going into the things that Allah has commanded us to stay away from, but because it is what we see them doing in their normalities and things that they like amongst each other, that somehow they will accept us into that circle. We've been doing it forever. We've bent over backwards so far that our necks have broken. And in that attempt, what we have found is that year by year, the general view about Muslims within the West has gotten worse and worse and worse for non-Muslims. They don't like you any more than they liked you last year. They dislike you more than they disliked you last year. They distrust you more than they distrusted you last year. We act as if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was speaking to someone else when He said, they will never be pleased with you until you become one of them. We act as if Allah Jalla wa Ala was speaking to somebody else. This is meant for someone else. This is what we find. Why? Because we are seeking izzah, honor, from people who don't possess it, to give to us. We are showing up at the bus station looking to withdraw from the bank account. We are looking to take things from people that they don't possess to give us. And this is a hard and fast rule. You cannot give to someone what you yourself do not possess. If you came and asked me for £1 million right now, I would love to give you £1 million right now. I can't. I do not possess it. So we're seeking something from people who don't possess it, because Allah Jalla wa Ala has called Himself Dhul Izzah, the owner of honor. And He distributes it to whomsoever He pleases. So He is the owner of that which we are seeking from human beings. But on the flip side of that, He said, whomsoever seeks to please Allah, even if people are displeased with Him because of it, that Allah would become pleased with them and He would place pleasure. It transcends time and place. It is applicable to all of them. And that is the beautiful being that Allah Jalla wa Ala has blessed us with. Most of us by birth And many of us by reversion, by coming back to the fitrah upon which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed us with. Within that, everything. And without that, we possess nothing. You possess nothing. Without Islam, you possess nothing. Even if the world was at your feet. You possess nothing. Because nothing in this life goes with you. None of it. The wealth that Allah placed on this earth when He created it will be the wealth that is on this earth when He destroys it. That's it. When Allah Jalla wa Ala reminds us on Yawm al-Hisab, the day of reckoning, the day of recompense, when Allah Jalla wa Ala rolls up the heavens and earth as if they were nothing, and then asks, where are the kings of the world today? Where are the people who fought over this and killed one another over this, and you lost your hereafter over this? Where are you at today? It's nothing, it's meaningless. Nothing in this world has value intrinsically in and of itself, except the value that we give to it. None of it. The Prophet ﷺ was walking and he saw a dead carcass on the side of the road. He picked it up and said, which of you will give me 1 dinar for this? Which of you will pay me a very cheap price for this? They said, oh Messenger of Allah, we wouldn't take it from you if it was free, or if you were paying us to take it. He said, know that this entire world and all its glitz and glamour and amazement is more despised in the eyes of Allah than this is despised in your eyes. It doesn't mean we can't be of this world, if we can't have things, if we can possess things, that's for another time. It's not that we shouldn't have possessions or we shouldn't possess the world. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already said that His will is that the believers possess this world. And trust me, the poor will make it to Jannah the easiest, but this ummah has always been known as an ummah of wealth, an ummah of having this world. And that's part of the appeal, is that who would want to be like you guys if all of us are poor? We can't help nobody, even ourselves. It's not that we shouldn't possess the world shouldn't possess us. We should have the dunya in our hands and our pockets, not in our hearts. It's the difference. For the believer, dunya is expendable. It's a commodity, it's a means, not an end. So it's not that we shouldn't have these things, but we should give them their true value. We should give them their true value. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed the Muslim to have things that they don't realize the value in. On one of the most beautiful days in the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, one of the most beautiful days in the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, and there's a reason why I say this is one of the most beautiful days, because if you understood the weight of this day, if you understood the gravity of this day, if you understood the transaction that took place on this day, the history that was made on this day, you would never, ever walk the streets with your head down in shame. Ever, as a Muslim, ever. Especially not a Muslim who follows the Prophet Muhammad. Allah Jalla wa Ala revealed in this day, Al-Yawm Akmaltu Lakum Dinakum. This day I have perfected for you your religion. Does anyone know what day this verse was revealed on? What is the asbab al-nuzul, the occasion of revelation, when Allah said, this day I have perfected for you your religion? The farewell sermon, the farewell pilgrimage. Yes, the last time the Prophet ﷺ gave an advice to this ummah as a whole, saying that I want all of you to listen to this. Shortly before his death, a few months before his death, he, after making Hajj, and this would be the only Hajj he would make from the city of Medina, this would be the one time where he would show the Muslimin the rights of Hajj and Umrah. And this happened on the 9th of Dhul Hijjah. a day amongst the best of days. We know that the nights of Ramadan are the best of nights, and the last 10 are the best of those, and Laylatul Qadr are the best of all. Within the days of the beginning of Dhul Hijjah. These are the best of days, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that these are the best of days. And within those days, the best of those days is the day of Yawm al-Arafah, Yawm al-Hajj, the ninth of Dhul Hijjah. This is the day where the Hajj, and I want to kind of finish with this almost, because I want to set the scene for you, that this is who we are. This is the legacy of this ummah. And even if you take nothing else with you tonight, if you just take that little bit of feeling, then that coal will get a little bit colder in your hand. Its temperature won't change, but your perception of it will. After the 9th of Dhul Hijjah, and the 9th of Dhul Hijjah is the day on the plain of Arafah, from after sunrise till after Asr. And what do? They stand under the burning sun, half naked, dirty, dusty, tired, weak, and we pour out our hearts to Allah Jalla wa Ala, asking Him for everything we can ever have thought of ever in our entire lives. Yeah? How many of you have been to Hajj? Raise your hand. We'll judge here, inshallah. On the 9th of Dhul Hijjah, what did you ask for the most? Out of everything you asked Allah for, what did you ask for the most? Forgiveness. For Allah to forgive you. Because the Prophet ﷺ said that this was the day where Allah forgave the Hujjaj. This is a day where Allah Jalla wa Ala, in His majesty and honor, in a way that befits Him, not like His creation, descends into the lower heavens. And He inquires from the angels, the malaika, who attend the lower and live in the lower heavens. And we already know, without disclaimer needed, that any question that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala poses, He knows the answer to. This is fact. The question, if Allah asks it, and this is why when anywhere you see Allah asking a question, you pay attention. But because the question is for the benefit of those who will hear about it later on. So He asks the angels, who are these people? And the angels say, my Lord, what are they doing here? Why are they're dirty and naked and half naked and crying, and what is this? And say, Lord, they have come here from all over the world. They've gone through whatever trials and struggles, maybe a lifetime of savings, to get here to this spot on this planet, to ask you to forgive them. They're here asking you, my Lord, to forgive them. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I want all of you to be a witness that today I have forgiven them. And there may be even one, the angel will come forward and say, my Lord, but there's one who was attending, who didn't have intention to come. Maybe just, he saw a huge group of the Hajjaj going this way, so it's got to be something over there. Human nature, what's going on over there? He just happened to end up here today, by chance. Well, I forgave him too. Just because of the greatness of this day, the honor of this day, this place, this hour. So, as this scene is set for companions who knew this and understood this, He called all of them to come to Him. He stood on what is known as the mountain of mercy. It's actually just a big pile of really big rocks in the middle of a very flat ground. He stood on top of that and He said, everybody come. I need to tell you something that is so important, and I don't think I'll ever have this chance again. And this statement, this farewell sermon, which I'm not going to go through the context of the totality of it, this is one of the most authentic hadith that are from the Prophet ﷺ, period. Because they are related by so many companions, in so many different chains of narration, that it is one of those things that if we don't know the Prophet ﷺ said anything else, we know he said this. For sure. And the ulama have explained it as being the heart of the religion of Islam. It is the core of our faith. It is kind of, every business has, what do they call it, mission statement. They have a mission statement, what they're all about. Statement of Al-Islam. The Prophet ﷺ prefaced it by its importance by saying, listen to me. And the most long version of this hadith, the most concise, the most comprehensive of it is narrated by Umar ibn al-Khattab, who was standing right next to the Prophet ﷺ. And it's recorded in the Muslim, the greatest of the ulama of this nation, Imam Ahmad, who knew what holding on to the hot cold meant. You understand me? A man who understood that. Umar said the Prophet ﷺ told us, pay very close attention to my words, for I do not know whether I will be able to be with you again at this time, at this place, after this year. He felt his death to be imminent. Just the preface of this caused every heart of every companion to not only open, but somewhat crack. Because they understood what was meant. And they made sure to pay attention. He described, for the first time in recorded history, he described the statement that there is no racism in Islam. For the first time in recorded history do we have of any human being standing in front of people, clearly saying that a black person is not better than a white person. A white person is not better than a black person. An Arab is not better than a non-Arab. And a non-Arab is not better than an Arab. The best of you in the eyes of Allah is the one who possesses the most taqwa. Clear cut. There is racism in the world today. Yes or no?
Yes.
Where are we? Where are we in the fight for that? When our Prophet was the far back in recorded history, was the one who told us clearly that this is inappropriate. Where are we? You know where we are? We're being racist to one another. Racism. The Prophet ﷺ warned us of this. Asabiyya, tribalism. That's about it so many times. And even on his deathbed, not look at each other based upon color, based upon nationality, land, border, culture, etc., so on and so forth. He warned us not to go back to this. And we have gone back to it with ferocity. It's so deep in the Muslim Ummah, don't know where to start with. So deep. May Allah protect us from this. He said that we are all equal in the eyes of Allah except for he who has the most taqwa. Then he talked about riba, to not cheat one another in business, and that any debt, even debt owed to his own family that was based upon the riba, is abolished. He null and void. He can't claim. Don't do that to one another, because that system has become the system that the world operates on, and that's why the system, the economic system of the world is in a shambles. Because riba cannot maintain itself. It cannot, by its very nature, its very dog-eat-dog nature, it cannot maintain itself. The system of the rich becoming more rich off the backs of the poor is not a system that can continue to exist. This is what we have seen in the West. The eradication of the middle class. Class warfare and the eradication of the middle class. The separation of the haves and the have-nots. Our Prophet ﷺ, in this one sermon, has given us so much that we could use to help the world. But where are we? Well, we're out running for politics to join the system, not change. I digress. He talked about women. SubhanAllah. It's like if there were 10 commandments of Islam from our Prophet ﷺ, you're looking at it. He talked about women and spoke specifically to you, brothers, specifically to us. Be careful on how you take care of women. Be careful, mind how you take care of women. mind yourself, because they are entrusted to you as caretakers, and you will be questioned. As is in Surah Al-Nisa, recited in Khutbah al-Hajj all the time, that Allah reminds us to give reverence to the womb, the arham that bore us, and within every woman is that capacity. Yeah? The honor that Allah gave sisters for just being sisters, just being women. Yeah? It should make you a bit jealous as a man. Yeah, 100%. 100%. If sisters understood the benefits that Allah Jalla wa Ala gave them just for being a sister in the struggles and trials that go through being a woman, and childbirth and childbearing and raising, and etc., and so on and so forth, they would wave it in our faces. But then towards the end of this sermon, he said something, because all of these things have been said before. All of these things have been said in one way or another, and by the Anbiya that come before. But now the Prophet ﷺ is going to say something unprecedented. This is what I want you to take tonight, inshallah. This is how we not only know that we might be holding on to the hot coal, but relish it. He would do something unprecedented, because before him, ﷺ, the other Anbiya, as they would leave their nations, Allah tells us in Surah Al-Bayyinah that they would be commanded what? To worship Allah, remain pure for Him, make the deen pure for Him, establish salah, pay zakat. وَذَلِكَ الدِّينُ الْقَيِّمَ. That was the right way for them. Wait for the next messenger or prophet to come. That's it. They were told to hold on to the message until the next messenger came. That's what Allah says He told them to do. But with our prophet, our messenger, alayhi salatu wasalam, being the seal of prophethood, the finality of messengership, the very last human being Allah Jalla wa Ala would give wahi to, the very last human being Allah would speak directly to on this earth, the very last. He knew, alayhi salatu wasalam, that there would be generations who would come after him, because he, alayhi salatu wasalam, said, of the signs of Qiyamah, I am but the first of them. And there will be preceding generation after generation after generation, one getting worse than the other. So he knew there would be people coming after. And those people would not be born with the Quran in their hands. They would not be born in that system. There would be people who would be born who would need to hear this message, who would need to hear the call of La ilaha illallah. Qul la ilaha illallah tuflihun. The very simplistic da'wah of our Prophet ﷺ. But who was going to do the job? He couldn't tell them, hold on to what I have given you until the next messenger came. Because there is coming no more. He said, but if there were going to be a messenger after me, it would have been the person standing right next to him, Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu. So what did he do? Alayhi salatu wasalam. With the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he took the torch of da'wah, the torch of conveying the message of tawheed to the world that had before him had been handed from prophet to messenger by Jibreel alayhi salam. He took that torch, he looked at this ummah, and he handed it to them. He said, those of you who are here today, convey this message to those that are not here. For truly it may be that the one you tell this message to may understand it better than you. If you understand the honor, the privilege that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed us with, to be a part of this ummah. He could have created us as Muslims in any of the ummahs to come before. But He chose us to be from the ummah of Muhammad. Gave us an honor to step in the footsteps of Anbiya. To do the job that Allah only trusted to the best of His creation. Who He then entrusted to the best of nations. Why? Because we do the work. He gave the honor to the companions because of the work they did. The da'wah. And after our Prophet ﷺ handed that torch, passed it over, this is how we know how great this was, how much of an honor this was, how much of a dignity it was. Because immediately after saying this, immediately after giving the torch of da'wah to this nation, he raised his fingers towards the heavens and he said, "Oh Allah, bear witness," 3 times. "Oh Allah, bear witness, I have indeed conveyed your message. 23 years ago, you gave me a job to do after Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaqa. You told me, Ya ayyuhal mudaththir, qum fa'anzir, rabbaka fakabbir. You gave me a job to do. And I've done it for 23 years, and he was proclaiming to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, now I have handed that task of that conveyance, of that beautiful message, to the greatest nation you've ever placed on the face of this earth, with some of the greatest people that will ever walk the face of the earth after the Anbiya. People like Abu Bakr after the Anbiya have entered into Jannah, all 8 gates open, and every single guardian begs Abu Bakr to enter their gate and give him the honor of Abu Bakr going through his gate. And he will be of the first of human beings after the Anbiya. A man named Umar ibn Khattab, whom the Prophet ﷺ said had a farasa like no other man, who he said when he walked on one street if shaitan was coming or on the same road, he would move and get out of the way to avoid confronting Umar directly. The man who, when he accepted Islam, changed the whole perception of Muslims in Mecca. They came out of hiding. The man who, when he made hijrah, everybody snuck in silence. He stood in front of the Kaaba, pointed out the Quraysh, and told them they all know who he is, and he knows who all they are. And he was making hijrah, and if anyone wanted to stop him, I dare them to try. People like Aisha radiallahu anha wardaha, whom without how much of the sunnah would have been lost. How much would we not know about the life of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam? The best of us, the best of human beings. He said, "Oh Allah, after giving the message to them to share it to the rest of the world, I've done my job." And how did Allah respond? Al-yawm. This day I have perfected your religion for you, have completed my ni'mah upon you, and have chosen for you Islam as your deen. Allah conferred what the Prophet ﷺ said. That is the most honorable of days. The religion that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala started with the first of us, began with Adam alayhi salam, passed it on through Nuh alayhi salam, and Musa, and all of these beautiful names that we know of. And our beloved Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, he decided for some reason that this ummah was going to be so honored that he was going to complete his way of life for mankind on your back. And we still question why we are in a state of humiliation in the world today. After understanding this, it's clear as black and white why we are who we are. Because there is a honor that this ummah has that no other ummah can ever have. And with that, with great honor comes great responsibility. Just for no reason is Allah going to put this ummah in front of all of the ummahs on the Day of Judgment and make it the largest of ummahs and march us and parade us in front of everyone on the Day of Qiyamah as His most honored nation. For no reason is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala going to ask and take the witness from this ummah for the job that the other anbiya have done. When Allah asked Nuh alayhi salam, "Did you do your job?" And he says, "Yes." And he says, "Do you have a witness?" He will say, "Go to Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam and his followers. They will bear witness for me." The same with Musa, the same with the prophets who had no message, who had no followers. No one will stand up and say they did their job. We will bear witness. They did their job because it's recorded for us that we believe in all of them. And that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was pleased with all of them and they all will be wrong. So when we know these things about ourselves, and we've been given all the tools that are disposable that we need, Allah has given us His kalam. Not just the Quran. Yes, it is the Quran, but it is the kalam of Allah. Yes, Allah maybe Allah has stopped speaking to mankind through His anbiya, but that does not mean that his voice is gone. As long as the speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remains alive in this ummah, the speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remains alive in this world. Because when we read from the Quran, we're not just reading or reciting the words of any human being. This is the speech from He who created the heavens and earth and upholds them with no effort from Himself to you. And our job is to make sure that gets conveyed to the rest of mankind. That's our job. That's our position. That's our lot in life, whether you like it or not. Whether you're a doctor, an engineer, a pharmacist, a business owner, a chef, whatever your position is in this life, your lot in life as a Muslim, as a follower of the greatest of messengers and human beings, is that you convey that message to other people. Allah told His Prophet ﷺ to say, as we wrap it up, a few more minutes. To say, this is my way. I call to Allah upon sure knowledge. Me and those who follow me. And glory be to Allah, we are not of the mushrikeen, those who associate a partner with Allah. Allah commanded us as Muslims in the Quran, in Surah Al-Nahl, if there were no other command of da'wah other than this command, it would be sufficient enough to know that it is mandatory for you. Because the word ud'u, from the word da'wah, from the word du'a, from the root da'a, taking the grammatical state of an amr, of a command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He says ud'u, He didn't say ya ayyuhan nabi. He didn't even say ya ayyuhal ladina amanu. Whoever reads this verse, ud'u illa sabila rabbika, call into the way of your Lord, invite other people to this way of life, because it does not belong to you. Islam is not the property of the Muslims. We have treated it like that for far too long. Islam is not the property of the Muslim Ummah. It is not the property of the masajid to keep locked away and away from mankind. Islam belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It belongs, it's His religion, it is for Him, it belongs to Him. Our job is simply to become, meaning that we take the religion the way it was given to us, unaltered, unchanged, unwatered down, unabridged, and we simply deliver it and hand it, put it in the hands of other people, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward us, and what He decides to do with it when we deliver it is up to Him. How we survive in the West in 2019. We live our lives to please Allah and to share the message of Islam with whomever we can, however we can. Simple as that. That's how we close. Because there is a problem that the West faces that is a synonymous problem with the Muslim Ummah. You're not going back home. Stop telling yourself that. If you are, alhamdulillah. The 95% of people who tell me they're going back home, I'll see you in 10 years and you come back again. You have laid roots here, you have made lives here, you have had children here, you've bought homes here, you've owned businesses here. We are here. We're not going anywhere. We owe a responsibility to help, not only for people to understand whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, who created them, but to help the society, to make this world better, to help with poverty, not just when it affects the Muslim community, to help with alcohol addiction, not just when it starts affecting the Muslim community or your family or someone you know, to help with the crime rate, not just when it starts to affect and snatches our youth into it. Yes, it snatched our youth up. Guess what? Had we done our job 30 years ago, maybe we wouldn't. Maybe there wouldn't be as much of it out there for our children to be entrapped by. The condition that Muslims find themselves in as a minority in the West, they are a direct blame for it, whether they like it or not. And it only took for a few companions of the Prophet ﷺ to go to foreign lands to change those lands for the better, and in most cases for the rest of history until today, because of their presence. And they didn't do much other than live Islam and show it to the people, and show how Islam can help society. How can Islam make your world a better place? How can Islam help your economic crisis? How can Islam help the poverty crisis? How can Islam help the drug and alcohol abuse and spousal abuse and all the other, the child abuse, the things that we see going on left, right, and center? How can we help? We show up with our hands out. How can we help? We owe it to them. We owe it to them as a service to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because Allah chose you to be a Muslim before you existed. Allah wrote with Himself in a book that is with Himself, that came all the other books and all the other that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reviews for every year. In a book that was written thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years before Allah decided to create anything else. Allah wrote your name in that book. He had that name written in your book. He had your name written in that book. And then with your name, He had written Muslim. He had that pen write your name and then Muslim, decreeing it for you before you exist. As a ni'mah from Himself. I used to think that I brought myself to Islam, you know, the Bible led me to Islam. Maybe we should go back and change the title of that. Because after understanding that, there's nothing I could have done differently. Allah had already written in December of 1998, I will guide you to myself. I will guide you to Islam. Inevitable for me. And that's a favor I cannot repay to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even if He gives me a million lives. But the best I will try to do is maybe stand before my mountain of sins hanging over my neck and hope better than me will be a means for me to enter Jannah, because the Prophet ﷺ said in Sahih Muslim, whoever calls to guidance receives the single reward of the one who is guided. So when you call someone to Islam and they accept it, you get the reward of all of their good deeds. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept it from us. So yes, Islam is like holding on to a hot coal. It will be like holding on to a hot coal. But that does not mean that that is necessarily a bad thing. Scars are sometimes the greatest life lessons. The pain sometimes teaches us better than the ease. The hardship, you learn a lot than the comfort. Diamonds are not made in ease, you understand? So we are not going to become mu'mineen and people of Jannah without the struggle, without the hardship, without the difficulty. So learn to embrace it. Learn to embrace it. Learn to smile through it. Because all of the struggles our Prophet ﷺ went through, more than you can ever imagine. His own family, people turning against him, his mother and father dying as a child, burying 6 of his children in his own lifetime, having wars fought against him, hypocrites plotting behind his back. You cannot find for me anywhere where he treated anyone rudely, harshly, didn't smile in someone's face. The one instance we know of, when he turned his attention away from the blind man for a moment because he thought that if I can reach these leaders of Quraysh, it'll help things. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed an entire surah to remind him that's not going to happen again. That's not appropriate. He never changed his disposition, no matter how people treated him, no matter how people abused him or slandered him or oppressed him or maimed him or fought wars against him. His disposition never changed. And even his worst of enemies, the moment he would think that their heart were turned towards Islam, that's what he would go after. That's what he would go after. All the wars that were fought against him would be forgotten. All the family members they may have killed would be forgotten. And that person would become a beloved companion to him, like Khalid ibn Walid radiallahu anhu. We need a little bit more of that attitude, inshallah ta'ala, in this position. And you'll find that the coal won't feel as hot. You won't notice it as much, inshallah. Barakallahu feekum jami'an. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you. I hope to look forward to taking some questions and answers from you. Forgive me for going a little bit over. I meant 45 minutes, a little bit over, but hopefully it was some benefit, inshallah ta'ala. We will open the floor for some questions. I think you have some here. We have some brothers and sisters online with us that I'll try my best to take some questions from them as well, inshallah ta'ala. Hopefully based on the topic, because let me preface Q&A with the fact that I'm not a sheikh, the fact that I'm not a scholar, the fact that I'm not qualified to give the religious rulings on almost any subject matter. but I can talk about da'wah and things that I feel will be in my ballpark.
Can you hear me better now?
Can you hear now?
Can you hear me in the background?
That's better?
Oh, okay. Some people are nodding, some people shaking their heads, so just take an average.
We'll just hold it.
Let's hope for the best.
Thank you so much, Brother Yusha, for your amazing reminder for all of us. It has been, with a lot of eager anticipation. We are awaiting your coming. I reward you for being here with us. And I think that so much of what you said to us today really struck a nerve with all of us about our obligation to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in carrying the call of Islam and in being resilient in adopting a path of patience and having hope in Allah. One of the things as you were speaking reminded me of is this distinction ulama make about with shukr al-am, shukr al-khas, specific shukr and general shukr, because you said about the importance of being grateful to Allah for the gift of Islam, and that's of course the greatest of all gifts that Allah gave us. And it might be that we have some limitations, deficiencies in life, with small things incomparable, like with health, it could be domestic circumstances, finances, for example, in comparison to the great gift of Islam. That's the greatest of all gifts. And so shukr khas is defined as al-iman wa tawheed wa quwwat al-qulub, the strength of the heart and the strength of iman, as opposed to just the strength of the limbs. If you think about that, if I just ask you the first question about the importance of the strength of the heart in these difficult times of test and sabr and endurance.
This one, take it. When it comes to the importance of the strengthening, the strength of the heart is going to be, the heart is the seat of Iman. This is where Iman resides. And it's called qalb for a particular reason, because of its tendency to like to shift and flip. It likes to go all over the place. So Allah referred to it as qalb for a reason, and this is the seat of Iman. This is where Iman resides. So having your heart not only steadfast, but cleaning it and cleansing it and making sure that there's a place and a home that Iman wishes to reside is of extreme importance, because if the heart is hard, then Iman will be weak. This is like a sliding scale that you can slide the barometer back and forth. The harder the heart, the darker the heart, the darker the sin that has encompassed the heart, the weaker the Iman will be, and vice versa. So in the struggle for Iman, in the struggle for steadfastness, in the struggle for piety and taqwa and all of these things, the heart is the most important factor to be truly concerned about.
Okay, we have a question from the sisters upstairs. You talked about carrying the da'wah, you talked about this. The sister is asking, can you give us some advice on giving da'wah to non-Muslims, particularly from your own experience?
This is the most frequently asked, unanswerable question. Because it's too broad. It's too broad. Because that's like, we have any medical professionals in the room? Where are doctors at? No? Doctors? We have a couple? I'm sure there's one somewhere. If you call a doctor and say, I have a friend who is sick, what should I do? Give you a response. Way too little information, you know what I mean? And that's not how that works. That's not how that process works. It's the same thing. Da'wah is very, very similar to the medical profession. Very similar in everything about it. Because in order to become a doctor, even if you just want to become just a GP, a general practitioner, it's a lot of learning involved, a lot of studying involved, a lot of, you have to do residency. They don't give you a degree and let you go start, treating patients. And then you have to spend some time in the field, etc., so on and so forth. And there is a whole slew of information that comes along with it, learning how to deal with patients, continue learning because new things happen, new sicknesses, new illness, new cures, new medicines, and so on and so forth. But the whole point is that you want to help treat human beings with their physical ailments, physical sicknesses. Da'wah, the du'at, are the doctors of the soul. The doctors of the soul. They take way more training, it takes way longer to become qualified, as they say. It is something you will continue to learn to the day you die. It's very similar in the way you diagnose patients, etc., so on and so forth. And it's the same in that we want to try to treat the illnesses of the soul. The illnesses. So they say, how do you give da'wah to everyone? You just call them to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Qul la ilaha illallah. This is the most prophetic da'wah. It's simple, it's sunnah to tell people, even if you only meet them for a short amount of time, if you say that you believe there's only one creator and you want to worship him the way he wants to be worshipped, you will have success in this life and the next life. Qul la ilaha illallah. That's da'wah. To try to bring everyone to tawheed. That's it. Because da'wah is to tawheed. That's it. Da'wah is to tawheed. That is all we are trying to bring people to. People are away from tawheed. We need to find a way to build a bridge for them to come over to the side of worshiping Allah with Rahdaniyya. That's it. But are there different ways you can do that for every single type of human being? Yes. There's a different way I would approach the Christian. There's a different way I would approach the Trinitarian Christian versus the Seventh-day Adventist Christian, the Jehovah's Witness. The same way with a Buddhist or a Hindu or an atheist or an agnostic, and so on and so forth. So just like in the medical field, you have people who are general practitioners, but if someone has, like let's say a heart condition, or possibly cancer or things of that nature, they're sent on to a specialist. They're sent on to like an oncologist or certain things of that nature. Because he's more special. Do I know about this condition? Yes. Is there somebody who's better than me about this? Yes. I'm going to send you to him. The same way, if someone comes to me about the basics of Hinduism, no problem. But if they were someone who understood the depths of Hinduism and kind of the framework of the mentality of someone who practices Hinduism, I can frame it on the framework of polytheism. But if I know that there's a brother who maybe came from being a Hindu previously in his life and he's come to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and he has a specialty in that field, I'm going to send them over there, inshallah. You understand? I'm not going to try to treat something else. Expertise. I stay in my lane, as they say. So it's very specialized in that sense. So the way you give da'wah to anyone is whatever way brings them to tawheed. Yeah? Simple as that. How do I give da'wah to anyone? In whatever way is going to bring them to tawheed. I don't know what that way is because I don't interact with the people you interact with. It's different for every single person, bro. This is also why we are supposed to know people. That the Anbiya were always a man of the people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never brought one of the Anbiya from the mountains, out of nowhere, who had never lived a day amongst human beings. He said he could go here as a prophet for you. No, he would always say, and we sent them their brother, Musa. We sent them their brother, Isa. We sent them their brother. You understand? He was a man, the Prophet was a man of the people. He was a man who was known to be truthful before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala conferred truthfulness upon him. He was a man who was known to be someone who cared about the poor before Wahy came to him. He was a man who was known to try to reconcile between human beings. He was a man who was known to stand up for justice, etc., so on and so on and so on. Before Allah Jalla wa Ala revealed to him the message of Islam. So we need to be of the people and we need to be for the people, inshallah.
Thank you so much for that very great answer. A question now from the brothers, inshallah. Anyone want to? Yeah,
You have a brother who is Muslim, among the state, we all send him, but you've got a brother who makes bigger sins, or like government, or you make sins that take you out of the fold of Islam. What sort of recommendation would you give us to bring our brother back to the
Yeah. The question was if you know of someone, whether it be a brother or a sister, who's committing grave, major, grievous sins, even to the point where they can take them outside of the fold of Islam, what do you do when trying to call them back? There's another case-by-case situational basis. Number one, you do it with the same gentleness you would find the Prophet ﷺ advising his companions, even on the most serious of matters, especially when it's one-to-one. You will see the Prophet giving advice angrily on the minbar, and he was speaking generally. Even if he wanted to speak about someone particularly, he would say it in a very general manner. That it has come to me that there are people who do such and such, and he may even got angry, but that never translated to a one-to-one conversation. You understand? That never translated that one-to-one conversation, because you care about this person. Clearly, if you ask this question, it means it's someone that you have some concern for or some care for. That care needs to become translatable to your actions, inshallah ta'ala. Because, unfortunately, we are, I'm making a proclamation on this because I've traveled the globe and I'm spending some time with you guys and with non-Muslims to know that we are one of the most, if not the most, judgmental nations on the face of the planet Earth today. Especially towards one another. Exceptionally, especially towards one another. We will tear each other apart. You understand? We are the most harsh to one another. We are the most disrespectful to one another. We are the most rude to one another. We are the most backbiting, fault-finding, slandering towards one another that you will see in almost any nation. And it's unfortunate, but it's just the way it is. But when we give advice, when we try to advise someone to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, stay away from sin, it needs to be done in a manner that you see that it will give the most benefit. You can be just as right to say, if you don't stop doing this, you're going to go to hellfire, yada, 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 go so fire and brimstone, and that person may just avoid you altogether or push so far away that nothing you say is ever going to work. Or you can be gentle and call them and show them, this is because you care, you have compassion and concern for one another. The way we advise, the advice brothers giving nasihat to one another, that is one of the most abused subjects within the religion of Islam today. We use it and abuse it, beat each other to death with it. It was never meant for that,
How's that going to fix?
Huh?
How's that going to fix? What you just said,
No, nobody said it's going to fix it. He asked, what can you do?
What do we do to fix it?
To fix what? The way we treat one another?
Yes, exactly.
We fix it. We start learning to have love for one another. The Prophet ﷺ gave us many advices. He told us to spread salams to those you know and those you don't know. Spread salams to one another. Or give gifts to one another. Things of this nature. Shake hands with one another. Wish good for one another. Make dua for one another. Things of this nature bring that type of love and affection and mercy between believers. Unfortunately, our lives are revolved around me, and what is immediately around me. My house, my family, my family, my tribe, my village. And our care and our sliding scale of care gets smaller the farther out we go from that. That makes sense. It's one of those simple admins that we need to learn to treat each other the way that we would like to be treated. Simple as that. Simple as that. Because if we were harsh with one another, the Prophet ﷺ told Aisha, someone who does not show mercy will not be shown mercy. Someone who's not merciful will not be shown mercy. We like to stand on the soapbox, you understand, and tell everyone else what's wrong with them, without remembering how much is wrong with our own selves. How much inner correction we need to do. Doesn't mean we don't advise against wrong whatsoever, no. But it will humble us quite a bit to how we do it, because we will understand how much of it is within us. And also we know that it's from the Sunnah that the Prophet said, do not expose the faults of one another. For whomsoever seeks to expose the faults of another Muslim, Allah will expose their faults. If you seek out the faults of Muslims to spread and cause scandal and slander and scandal and slander, we love a scandal, man. Oh, this ummah loves a scandal. SubhanAllah. When you do that, be ready for Allah to lay your life bare. So we have to just remember these small things, inshallah. We're all sinful. None of us are going to make it to Jannah if Allah doesn't forgive us. None of us.
Like marriage should happen and this and that. Shouldn't just be focused only on what someone needs and the only human maybe.
So do you want to repeat the question?
Yeah, sure. Speakers always get these questions about marriage. It's one of the double-edged swords of being a traveling speaker is, you know, that we get asked these questions, but also we can answer them, but we can't fight them. Just cannot invite it back. The question was about marriage between different races, it doesn't have to be different races, between different qabilas, different tribes, different cultures, different countries. Put it this way, deciding who your children will marry based upon some external factor other than Islam. That they have to be a certain tribe or a certain color. If you want a certain financial position, all of that, that's fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But the Prophet ﷺ summed it up the best when he said that if someone comes to your house, he comes to your front door, and he asks for the hand of your daughter, and you cannot find any defect in his deen, you cannot find any defect in his religion or his akhlaq or his character, and you refuse his hand in marriage, you will create fitna, you will create tribulation upon the earth. Simple as that. Simple as that.